All right, welcome everybody back to the Figure Kit Garage for Building a Better Blade Runner, Work in Progress Part 5. Last episode, we concentrated on painting the shirt in the really unique pattern that almost drove me nuts. But now we're starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel because now we start painting the trench coat. I have the base color, highlight, and shadow tone all mixed together. These are a custom mix. Multiple colors used to get what I think is the closest approximation to Deckard's trench coat color from the film. So we're going to get that started. I've got him masked off using Mr. Masking, Sol Neo, and a little bit of Silly Putty. But once I get to certain areas here and here on the arm, I'm going to have to stop and then glue that arm onto the body and then let him sit for about a full 24 hours. So today is Thursday. I probably will not get back to him again until Saturday. So we're going to get this started and get the base coat laid down. I'm going to time lapse everything as far as the painting goes. And after each stage, we'll take a look at it and we'll go from there. So finally get into this trench coat. After all the problems I had with the primer, I was beginning to wonder if I'd ever get this far. But here we are. So let's begin. All right, now that we got the base coat laid down, beautiful reddish orange brown tone. Very happy with how that turned out. Dries very flat, and I think that's because I used the Reaper paints in with the Pro Acryl. But overall, I'm happy with the way that color turned out. Really beautiful. So now we begin the shadow color, and I'll have to do a little bit of brushwork on this as well, because I'll have to get all the wrinkles and all the stitching lines around the trench coat. So I'll be doing brushwork on that as well. So let's get this started. All right, we're back, and shadows are complete. Very happy with how those turned out. I did the brushwork off camera. The rolls between the areas between the rolls in his collar, around the edge of the stitching, especially on the cuffs on the sleeve. Very pleased with how those shadows have turned out. I think they look really good. So now we're going to go in with the highlight color. And then once that's done, I'll give it a quick mist over with the base coat color just to kind of blend everything together. And once I get that part finished, then this part will be done until I get him glued and get the gap on his arm putty together and blended. Then we'll I might just finish that off camera, because you guys have seen enough of this. And then once I get all that done, we'll take one last look at it, and we'll probably call this video finished. So here we go with the highlights. All right, we are back, and from where we were at the last segment, it's been about 2 days. Thursday, I went ahead and glued the right arm onto the body with DevCon two-part steel reinforced epoxy, and using a brass rod and carving some notches into the male and female end of the parts. Got that arm glued on and let it sit for a full day. And then last night came out and used Abe's epoxy sculpt to fill in the gap. I had to rescribe in the seam line for the stitching on the arm. But all the smoothing and blending I did, this turned out really perfect. Really happy with the result. And one of the things I used to get that, and you can't use it every single time, this one was a unique situation. About 5 years ago, I bought a set of these modeling ball tools from Joann's Crafts, and these are primarily used for baking and modeling different types of frosting and things like that. Sorry about the noise. And it's a set of 4, but I was using these to, I would have a medicine cup filled with Abe's safety solvent, and I would just dip my tool in circular motions, smooth out all the edges of where the putty was at to blend it in. What I did earlier today, I had to do maybe 5 minutes of sanding to get a few bumps out. As far as that goes, that was the most work I had to do on that, so I'm very pleased with how that turned out. We've got base coating, shadowing, and highlighting to do. A few small touch-ups on this, sealing it off, and the trench coat will be finished, and we're going to get started on that right now. Overall, I am extremely pleased with how this has turned out, especially the color of the trench coat. The reddish orange brown tone overall turned out really, really beautiful. Could not be more pleased with that. So we're going to get this started. I've got his head and his shirt masked off, as well as his right hand and the pistol. I'm not taking any chances of getting overspray on anything. I've done way too much to this to have to go back and color correct anything. So I'm going to time lapse this. We'll get this done and we'll take a look at it when I'm finished. Here we go. All right, we are back. Deckard's trench has been flat sealed, and to say that I am over the moon with how this looks in the end is a gross, ridiculous understatement. The blending with all the putty work and the paint work turned out absolutely fantastic. All the color tones are the same, even on the underside. All right up in here is where the brake line was at. All that seams in really, really well. I could not be happier with how this turned out. I'm glad I tinkered with the original base coat color to add the auburn shadow in to the way it should look, give it more of a reddish tone, because originally I had it more of an orange-brown color. But once I put that auburn shadow in, it turned out absolutely perfect. So we got one last thing to do on this trench, and that is going to be the 2 buttons on the sleeve. It's a minor thing, but I really don't want to let those go. So I'm going to base coat the buttons with Vallejo model color mahogany brown. I'm going to try and do like a tortoiseshell pattern using Pearl Acryl heavy warm white. Move that out of the way. Got to shut my compressor off apparently. It's all right. After this video, the compressor will not be needed at all because I am done essentially with the airbrushing. The next video, which will be the last, will be just the final touch-up work to the bruise under his eye, glossing the eyes over, getting the sheen on his skin, and putting the little bit of coagulated blood on the wound where he got slapped around by Leon. Slapped. Hell, he got his butt kicked. What am I saying? Get that out of the way so I don't keep bumping it. And that will be pretty much the end of this video series. To all of you that have followed me along on this journey, including my problems with the primer, I do appreciate the support all the way around the board. Excuse me. Including and especially Paul Gill, who helped me figure out what the problem was overall, that gave me the direction I needed to go in. We made it this far. The finish line is now in sight. All we have left to do is cross it. And that will be the next video, which I'll probably do that on my next days off, which will be next Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I'm not sure which one it is going to be, but that will not be a very long video at all. All right. Now that that's done, now I'm going to come in with the heavy warm white. I had to thin this down a lot. Didn't want it too thick. Come in with my Psycho brush. Not going to be a perfect tortoiseshell pattern, but some fairly straight and simple. Probably should have gone a little bit more transparent. Sorry about the camera bump. It does not want to come out of my brush that easily. Oh, that's better. Let me see if I have... I'm going to try this Carlsberg Crimson or Reichland Flesh Shade wash over the top of that. Try to knock back that heavy warm white. Yeah, it looks a lot better. Take one of my beat up brushes here. I like that a lot better. Knocked back the that warm white quite a bit. I actually like the way that looks. So with that, we are going to call this episode finished. So, as I said, the next video will be final detail work on the bruise under the eye, putting the sheen on the skin, glossing his eyes, and oh yeah, I got to try and do his hair up to look a little bit on the damp side. And that will be the end. But apart from that, after all the problems I had toward the very beginning to where I'm at right now, I could not be any happier with the overall look of how he's turning out. Really, really pleased. So for this episode, Building a Better Blade Runner, episode 5, Painting Deckard's Trench. This has been the Figure Kit Garage. Everybody stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Build a kit.